Hello, I'm Tiaan Herselman on behalf of Old Mutual Wealth, and with me I have our Chief Strategist at Old Mutual Wealth, Izak Odendaal. Now, Izak, 2025 has been a year full of a lot of surprises, and today we prepped all the lights, we had all of our notes ready, we did a lot of research for this budget speech, and then we didn't have a particular budget speech. First and foremost, what happened, and what is your first take on what we witnessed, or the lack of what we just witnessed?
Yeah, obviously this was not expected, and I think it's caused a bit of anxiety, I suppose, among investors and just people out there. Why has the budget been cancelled at very short notice? I mean, we were all ready to roll and read the speech and listen to what the minister has to say. I mean, ultimately, it seems to be the issue is there's a disagreement in cabinet around how to go ahead with the fiscal consolidation effort. And I think the important thing is that fiscal consolidation effort, which is to say trying to reduce government's borrowing over time, that's not in question. What is in question here has been the how. What is the exact mechanism? And I think as the news has come out, there were objections within the cabinet to a proposed 2% increase in the VAT rate. So this is unfortunate. Obviously, it does cause uncertainty, and it causes a lot of people to cancel plans that they might have had. But I think the underlying reason here is potentially not so bad. They're still trying to fix things. They're still trying to get South Africa out of this fiscal hole it's got, and I think that picture is still solid. But obviously, they could have handled this a lot better. And, they could have ironed out their disagreements earlier.
So it's like there was a lot said in the media about potentially an increase in VAT, not 1%, even 2%. We were expecting, hopefully, or hoping for an inflationary adjustment in income tax brackets. What was your expectation leading up to the budget, taking into account the big task for the minister to try and not just balance the budget, because there is a big shortfall, but what are some of the things that you were expecting leading up to this budget, which obviously didn't take place today?
Yeah, so the whole issue around the VAT increase, I think, was quite recent, literally the last couple of days. I don't think there really was an expectation that would happen if you go back a few weeks ago. I think the key thing, again, in terms of my expectations, was that we would continue this path of fiscal consolidation. I mean, the reality is South African government borrows too much, and as a result, it spends too much on interest payments. We now spend more on interest payments than we do on social grants, than we spend on education, than we spend on health. So you have to get those debt levels down so that there's actually more money to spend on all the important things we need to spend on. So that is really the focus. Now, to get that borrowing level down, you need to be disciplined on spending, number one. And number two, you need to generate more tax revenue. Now the VAT increase is part of generating more tax revenue, but let's be honest, this economy is taxed quite heavily as it is. So there's limited room to increase tax rates. Certainly on individual taxpayers, I don't think there's much room to increase tax rates. So, which is why they're looking at the VAT side of things, which is obviously a much more broader form of taxation. But the key thing is you need economic growth, because if you have stronger economic growth, that generates taxes because our incomes go up, our profits go up, spending activity goes up. So really, for me, the key thing that I was looking for is just, what are we doing to get this economy growing again? And I was expecting a lot in the budget around specifically infrastructure spending and how to get private investment into infrastructure spending, because that's the one lever we can pull right now to get this economy growing, is to say, let's get the private sector involved in building power plants, running railways, fixing ports, all that good stuff that'll ultimately support economic growth over the medium term and longer term.
Now, Izak, this is not an uncommon phenomenon, especially with the government of national unity. We've seen this happen in the US quite a lot. What is your take on the everyday South African, how we should view this, and is there cause for us to be concerned, or is this just part of a new government of national unity finding its feet and getting to the best outcomes for us South Africans?
Yeah, I don't think this is ideal. I mean, the budget used to run like clockwork, and it ran very well, and South Africa scores very highly internationally for the transparency of the budget process. However, this is probably part of the reality of coalition politics. That things don't get agreed on, on schedule, and that there, some of these announcements and meetings and so on might get postponed. So maybe this is a new reality for us. I think the question is, what is the underlying message? The underlying message is, here is a coalition government that's still trying to find one another, agree on the appropriate path going forward. I think I think there is, as I said earlier, there is agreement on what needs to be done. The question is more about how it needs to be done. So I'm not particularly concerned about that. And I think ultimately, again, this is a case of democracy in action. These are the parties that represent us in Parliament, and they need to find one another and table a budget that is in the long-term interest of the country. So no, I don't think anyone needs to panic just because of the fact that the budget was cancelled. We saw financial markets, the rand is a bit weaker. I mean, you would expect that there's going to be a little bit of short-term volatility. I don't think this changes anything in the bigger scheme of things.
Izak, I think insightful as always. I think the takeaways from me from what you said is no reason to panic. We can expect this. This could be the new normal, maybe not for the GNU, but the good thing is they are focusing on fiscal consolidation. But for us at Old Mutual Wealth, this is no reason to change anything in your financial plan, in your investment strategy. We are long-term investors. As like we've always said, diversification is key, but stick to your financial plan. That's the most important thing that we can take, I think, out of today.